Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me today. My name is Mary Beth, and I'll be your teacher for today's lesson. So in this lesson, we're going to learn how to find the least common multiple, also known as the LCM. Let's go ahead and get started. So first, we're going to need to refresh our memory on what a multiple is. Okay, so a multiple is a whole number that can be divided by another number without a remainder. Okay, so the word multiple sounds a lot like multiplication, right? And it is connected. Here we have our multiplication tables from 1 to 10. And let's go ahead and just look at 5 for a moment. So the question is, well, what's a multiple of 5? Well, one multiple of 5 is 10, because 5 times 2 is 10. Can you think of another multiple of 5? If you thought of 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and so on, all of these numbers here, then you're right. So let's go ahead and look at this first example. Okay, so the example says, list the first 5 multiples of the number 9. All right, so try not to look if you can. It's great if you know your multiplication facts. Okay, if not, and we need to look, that's okay. But the first multiple of 9 would actually be 9 times 1, which would be 9. 9 times 2, 18. 9 times 3, 27. 9 times 4, 36. And 9 times 5, 45. How did you do? If you take a look over here, we have the list of all the multiples of 9 right there. Okay, great. So I hope that was a good refresher for you on multiples. Now we're ready to move on to the least common multiple. So the least common multiple, or the LCM for short, of 2 numbers. Now this is important, that you're finding the least common multiple of 2 numbers, whereas before we were finding just multiples of a single number, right? So we find the least common multiple of 2 numbers, or we could find it of more than 2 numbers. But it's exactly as it sounds. It's going to be the smallest or the least multiple that they share, that they have in common. Okay, so let's look at this example here in blue. We're finding the least common multiple between 3 and 4. So here we have all the multiples of 3, the first bit, first 8, and the first 8 of the multiples of 4. And you're going to look through and find what they have in common for a multiple and the smallest one. And we can see here that it's 12. 12 is the first multiple on this list that they have in common. Do you see another common multiple? If we keep going down, we actually see that 24 is also a common multiple, and there will be more, but 12 is the smallest. Okay, so now let's look at example 2. What is the least common multiple of 6 and 9? And here's our shorthand for it, LCM of 6 and 9, parentheses 6 comma 9. All right, so one way that we can do this is we can simply think of the multiples of 6 and the multiples of 9 and find the smallest one that they have in common. All right, so let's look at, what are the multiples of 6? What are the multiples of 9? All right, so 6 would start with 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 3 is 18. 6 times 4 is 24. Let's just stop there for a moment because it keeps going on forever and see if we have one in common with 9 yet. So 9 times 1 is 9. Not yet. 9 times 2, oh, that's 18. So there we go. We found our least common multiple is 18. That's our answer. Nice. Now you may be wondering if there's another way to do this, and the answer is yes. We can also use a factor tree to find the least common multiple. So let me go ahead. I'm just going to split this up here. And this would be a method using the factor tree. Okay. So remember that with a factor tree, we're going to end up figuring out what all the prime factors are of a number. So let's see, 6 can be multiplied into 2 times 3, and those are both prime, so we're going to stop there. And then 9 is 3 times 3, which are also both prime, so we're stopping there. Those are small factor trees. So 6 is written in its prime factorization form as 2 times 3. 9 is 3 times 3. And then now here's the trick. In your least common multiple, you need to account for every factor that's unique between the two, and you need to use the greatest number of that factor. So in other words, there's a 2 and a 3 between both of these. There's a 2 and a 3 that's a factor. What's the most number of 2's that we see in either one? There's 1, 2 in the 6. There aren't any in the 9. And then for the 3, what's the greatest number of 3's that we see there? There's 2 in the 9 here. So we need to have both of those 2 3's included. And that is the formula for finding the least common multiple. 2 times 3 times 3. 2 times 3 is 6, times 3 is 18. And we can get it that way as well. Okay, let's look at example 3. What is the least common multiple of 5 and 4? Well, again, we could come up with a list. And I want you to just maybe think about it for a minute. What do you think it is? Least common multiple. I'm going to go back. We're going to look at our lists of 4 and 5. We're looking for the first place that they have a common multiple. So here's my multiples of 4. Here's my multiples of 5. Do you see the first multiple they have in common? If you said 20, you would be right. There it is. Nice job. So the least common multiple in this case is actually just 5 times 4. Sometimes it is the two numbers multiplied together. That is the smallest one. Okay, nice job, everybody. So now let's go ahead and take a look at this word problem. Okay, so this word problem says 2 of the lights at the local stadium are flickering. They both just flickered at the same time. One of the lights flickers every 7 seconds, and the other light flickers every 8 seconds. How many seconds until both lights will flicker at the same time again? Okay, so I hope you can kind of picture this one. All right, so we could think of it as light number 1 and light number 2. So let's think about for light number 1, it is flickering every 7 seconds. That sounds a little annoying to me. That's a lot of flickering. All right, so it's going to flicker at 7 seconds, right? When's the next time it's going to flicker? Well, 7 plus 7 is 14, or 7 times 2. It's going to flicker again in another 7 seconds, so 21. And really, we just have a list of our multiples of 7. So I have 7 times 1, 7 times 2, 7 times 3, 7 times 4, 7 times 5. I'm going to keep going until I get to 7 times 8, because I know that that will at least definitely be a common multiple. I just have to make sure it's the least common multiple. 7 times 6 is 42. 7 times 7 is 49. And 7 times 8 is 56. All right, Nice. So let's go ahead and do the same thing for light number 2. These are our multiples of 8. 8 times 1, 8 times 2, 8 times 3, 8 times 4. I hope you're checking to make sure I'm not making a mistake. 8 times 5, 8 times 6, and 8 times 7. All right, nice job. So do we see any common multiples before we get to 56? I don't think so. I think that's the first one. So that is your least common multiple. That's when they're going to flicker simultaneously. And so that is our answer is 56. All right, nice job, 56 seconds. Great. Nice work, everybody. That completes our lesson for today. So just to recap, in this lesson, we learned what a multiple is, how to find the least common multiple of two numbers, and how to use the least common multiple in a word problem. If you like this video, feel free to subscribe so that you can see when I have another video posted. Also, check out my classes and my lessons. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next time. Bye.